Good morning, I'm Saini at the University of Canberra. I am in my weekly conversation with Michelle Grattan about politics in Australia. Michelle, good morning.
Hi, Deep.
Now, this was to nobody's surprise that Julie Bishop announced yesterday that she was retiring from active parliamentary politics. She is one of the brightest lights in politics in this country. She is a woman of considerable status in the country, in politics particularly, but also, well known globally. Liberals have been hurting in terms of the presence of women in their party and particularly presence of women in the leadership positions. What does this mean for the Liberal Party? How damaging it is, and are they likely to recover from it?
It is a big loss, I think, because there's been so much talk about the woman problem that the Liberal Party has, the lack of women MPs, and that's not going to improve at all after the election. And Julie Bishop has been a very popular figure in the community. She's been distinguished as Foreign Minister. Now, of course, after the leadership change last year, she said she didn't want to be on the front bench, and so she's been a backbencher. There's been a lot of speculation about her future. We've talked on in our conversations earlier on it, and it is not a surprise she's gone, but it is a blow.
The blow it is, and then there is the issue of who would replace her in the seat of Curtin. There are speculations that she's delayed her announcement to prevent Christine Potter from moving to that seat from another seat. This is obviously one of the safest seats in the country. She has also flagged that there are a number of women interested in running in that constituency. How likely are Liberals to get a candidate for that constituency who could come close to stepping into Julie Bishop's shoes?
I think that the Liberals will be under great pressure to pre-select a woman candidate because Julie Bishop has elevated that matter, and if they don't, there'll be a kerfuffle around the new candidate. Beyond that, because it's such a safe seat, of course, the nature of the candidate won't matter that much. Whoever's selected will be elected, but you won't get a candidate who's going to be another Julie Bishop, because I think she's been pretty special.
What do you think she's going to do?
Interesting question. There's been talk of a diplomatic appointment, won't be under this government because too close to the election. Could Labor give her such a position? Well, I think that while there's precedence on this, a very, very high profile diplomatic position, which surely would be all that she'd be interested in, would be difficult for a Labor government because Labor is annoyed about one or two cancellations that the Liberal government made and movements of people that had been appointed by it, and so it's a difficult road for Bill Shorten to go down. Maybe something in business, maybe something in an international organisation of some sort.
Michelle, another embarrassing development for the government is the revelation that Mathias Corman, our finance minister, had booked a travel through HelloWorld. He then claims that he did not notice that his credit card was not charged for that travel. The CEO of the company happens to be a friend of the Liberal Party and his own friend personally. This looks strange coming from a finance minister particularly. What are the consequences of things like that happening just before the Parliament adjourns and we are heading into an election?
These things just make a cynical electorate even more cynical. They think, well, here is someone who didn't book his flights through the normal process, but rang up a mate who happens to be actually the Federal Treasurer of the Liberal Party, and said, will you do it for me? And then had the further issue of the credit card not being processed. Now, I think that Mathias Corman intended to pay for the flights and that was an administrative error. But what does an ordinary person say? Yeah. They say, well, if 2,700, I think the figure was, around that, didn't appear on my credit card statement as having gone through, I would notice it. But here's a senior minister who doesn't notice it. So it just reinforces the impression that politicians are out of touch with the sort of lives that normal people live. And at this time of the cycle, with the government in all sorts of difficulties, that's bad. This whole thing too has extended out to involve Joe Hockey, the ambassador in Washington, and discussions between this HelloWorld company or a subsidiary over travel. So it's all turned into a big spreading mess.
Speaking of spreading messes, another one that seems to be spreading is the Prime Minister's statement that a sophisticated state actor has hacked into the communications of major political parties. He hasn't named any sophisticated actors, but the indication seems to be that he's speaking about China. Now this is on the heels of a number of other things that have happened through the year where China keeps coming in the spotlight and not always in the positive way. What is this doing to the relationships with that very significant country and to the politics in this country?
Certainly, I think that these various issues that come up involving China add to tensions, create tensions in the relationship. It seems to go up and down. There's some talk today about difficulties with our coal exports getting landed in China. But this question of cyber attacks is becoming a really serious one, because the discovery of the hacking of the parties was during an investigation into the hacking of the Parliament's cyber systems. So when the Parliament system is under question, that is pretty major. And I think that the business community and the political community are becoming more and more aware of these attacks, and the consequences of them clearly spread into diplomatic relations and business activities all over the place.
And are worrisome.
And it is a major worry.
Michelle, the Parliament has adjourned yesterday, and I assume you're looking for some slowdown and some rest?
I don't think there'll be much of a slowdown. We're in full election mode now. The last time the Parliament meets will be in early April for the budget, but I think we'll see the opposition leader, the Prime Minister, the senior ministers, senior opposition figures out every day, often in high-vis gear.
And we'll be talking a lot about that here.
Indeed.
Yeah, look forward to that.